Stephen A., you think the Knicks close it out tonight in Boston?
They better. And I'm going to tell you why they better. Because the Pacers are waiting. It's a team that I do not underestimate. It's a team that I do not minimize. Halliburton, Turner, Nembhard, Neesmith, these brothers can play. They are not scrub. Mathurin, let me not forget him when he keeps his temper, when he composes himself. The brothers can play, and they're exceptionally well coached by a future Hall of Fame coach and a champion in Rick Carlisle. We know what they bring to the table. I'm saying the Boston Celtics can beat them. They still got a $300 million player like Jaylen Brown. Last time I checked, Drew Holiday and Derek White, even though Brunson was giving it to them the other night, the bottom line is these guys are no joke, okay? Al Horford, you can never dismiss him. Pritchard, and what his contributions were off the bench, etc. Boston has a team that can beat the Knicks for Game 5. We all know this, but the New York Knicks need to prioritize taking them out because the Indiana Pacers are waiting, and you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're grinding and scratching your way into the conference finals while they're resting, sitting pretty, waiting for you to handle your business. New York Knicks need to finish Boston off tonight.
I'm going to go the other way. This is a very interesting game from a Boston perspective. They are not going to win a series. We know that. They're not beating them 3 straight times without Tatum. So we put that aside. What do the Celtics have in them? At home, lost the last 2. Now their best player is out for a year and a half. I'm not in love with this coach. They blew a 14-point lead in the third quarter there on Monday night after blowing 2 leads the other last week. Brown was terrible. Porzingis has given them absolutely nothing. What do they have at home as the defending champions in sort of a last stand scenario? I know Steve's point. Indiana awaits, but the Knicks are probably going to win Game 6, and they're going to win one of these 3 games, and they'll probably win Game 6. So I'm not going to approach this as, well, the Knicks need to match Indiana. I'm going to approach this as, what is Boston, an emotional 36 hours, Udonis? What do they have psychologically, knowing they probably can't win a series, to try to defend a little honor down 3-1?
I mean, you just focus on one game. You don't focus on a series. You focus on one game. If I look around that locker room and if I tell my guys we got one game at home in front of our home crowd and all we need to do is get one and we can't do that, then I'm in the wrong damn locker room. I got to believe that we can get one. We need the Jaylen Brown that was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP last year. We need the 30-point Jaylen Brown. We need the Porzingis that went into the Garden on April 8th and dropped 34 and gave them 8 eyeball sandwiches from behind the 3-point line. They need that kind of energy. And also, we need the Jaylen Brown that took the matchup against Luka on defense in the finals and took him out. And we need a rebounder. Jason Tatum was their best rebounder. They are a connected group of guys. They have championship heart expectation. I expect they win this game tonight, Stephen A. I don't expect them to win the series.
Listen. If I had to bet, they'd lose. They'd win tonight and lose Game 6 at Madison Square Garden. But I do think the New York Knicks are primed to take them tonight because I think without Tatum, the game comes down to the wire. Yes. And if it comes down to the wire, then the clutch play of the year, Jalen Brunson. The ball is in his hands, and we all suspect what's going to happen when it comes down to that. You're Jaylen Brown, however, who I believe in. The brother can ball. We all know this, okay? He's a 4-time All-Star. He's a champion. He's an NBA Finals MVP. You're the number 1 option now. Last time I checked, you got a $304 million contract. Tatum is down. If I'm Boston ownership, if I'm Boston's organization, if I'm the coach, if I'm his teammates, I'm looking for him to lead. He was the vocal leader last year and one of the leaders. We vacillated back and forth at times, wondering who was the number 1 option. I'm talking about last year, not this year, between him and Tatum. But obviously, Tatum cemented that. But now your little bro is out.
Yes.
Your star is out. It's on you. I expect Jaylen Brown to drop 30-plus tonight. And you got to make sure if you go down, as I said on many occasions when Cam Newton was here during the football season, just don't let it be you.
Yeah.
Don't let it be you.
Yeah.
Make sure that you, Jaylen Brown, we're not looking at you as the guy that didn't get it done. Remember, Jason Tatum gets hurt game 7, Eastern Conference Finals versus Miami, and obviously he goes down and y'all end up taking him out in Boston when they overcame a 3-0 deficit, tied at 3-3, and then obviously they lose in the Game 7. Tatum gets hurt early in that game. Jaylen Brown didn't pick up the slack the way that he was supposed to. Tonight, you make sure that doesn't happen. It's not you, Jaylen Brown. You got to show up and be lights out and make sure that when we're looking at it, it's just you just lost to a better team.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how it's got to be.
With that being said, if the Celtics win tonight, how nervous are you?
The Celtics win tonight? Oh, I'm not nervous. Oh, no. Oh, I'm not nervous about the New York Knicks losing Game 6 at the Garden Friday night. It's going to be electric. If it come to that, Molly, let me tell you something. You got New Yorkers so hyped. Some of them don't want the Knicks to win tonight just because they want the Knicks to win at the Garden Friday night. That's how epic that environment is going to be. Have you seen Knicks fans when they win a playoff game? Have you seen me? When we win a playoff game. Now, we're talking about a series-clinching victory that propels us to the conference finals at the Garden at Game 6 on a Friday night where most people got the weekend to look forward to. Ain't even a weeknight. It's a Friday night at the Garden. Lord have mercy. Let me tell you something right now. I'm just thinking about it. I almost get goosebumps thinking about it right now. I'm trying to tell y'all right now. I want them to win tonight because I respect Indiana. And I think Indiana can beat the New York Knicks. I'm not saying I'd pick them to do it. I'm saying they can beat the New York Knicks. Do not sleep on them. Do not underestimate them. But I have no concerns if the Knicks lose tonight that they're going to lose in a Game 6. So assuming they're healthy, nobody gets injured tonight. If they're healthy and they go to Game 6 at the Garden, it's a
so
wrap.
you prefer them to win in New
It's
York?
a wrap.
Okay.
You know,
It's a wrap.
one last thing quickly for me. It's not easy playing a wounded team. The Knicks know that they're in very good shape here, and the Knicks always, with prosperity, never play as well when there's a sense of urgency. And tonight they're going into a game, they feel that they got the Celtics reeling, 14 down third quarter. He's out. So they're going to win this series. They down deep probably know that. Let's see how it's not easy playing a team that is in this situation. Not mail it in, lose by 12, and I'll see you Friday night. Let's see the Knicks get in the last couple minutes here with a chance to steal one on the road in the Game 5. Sometimes they don't do that well. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, as far as the Pacers, they made easy work of the one-seed Cavaliers, sending them home in 5 last night. Cleveland built a first-half lead, but Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers proved yet again to be too much down the stretch. Now, according to ESPN Bet Sportsbook, the Knicks are the odds-on favorite to win the East, followed by the Pacers, then the Celtics. The Pacers also have the 4th shortest odds to win it all, behind the Thunder, Knicks, and Timberwolves. UD, who's your favorite to come out of the East now?
I'm gonna go with the Pacers. And I already know what you're going. You think I'm hating. I could go either way because I've had battles with both of these teams. But I'm looking at this Pacers team, and I'm gonna tell you something about this Pacers team, Stephen A. They match up with your Swiss Army knives. They match up with your guys that star in their role. Nembhard, Naismith, Siakam, they match up well with OG. They match up well with Hart. They match up well with Bridges. I came with statistics today. So we got 18 points right here for Siakam. We got 16 points for OG. We got 14 points for Nembhard. We got 15 points for Bridges. We got 14 points for Naismith. We got 12 points for Hart. So all these Swiss Army knives and all these guys that are having these games where we know what Brunson's going to do, but Mikal Bridges is having his moments down the stretch. We talk about Cat having his moments. We talk about all these guys having their moments. Well, they got guys that star in their role and they have their moments as well. So I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers on this because I'm an underdog guy, so I always like to go with the underdog. The underdog role has served me well.
Well, luckily, I don't give a damn about what a Miami Heat has to say about the New York Knicks, okay? I'm not going to get caught up in that, Udonis Haslem. I respect where you're coming from because I respect the Indiana Pacers. And even though it was by and large due to injury, they did beat the New York Knicks in the semifinals last year. We can't ignore that they've got experience at being at the Garden. They won that Game 7 at the Garden last year. Ain't going to be 2 years in a row. Ain't going to be 2 years in a row they taking the New York Knicks out because I think this is a 7-game series. It has a 7-game series written all over it. But we're not going to belabor that because we're not going to discount the Boston Celtics. It ain't over until it's over. They're the champions, and I'm going to respect them. Then I'm going to tell you this. I don't see the New York Knicks, if they were fortunate enough to be in the next round of conference finals against the Indiana Pacers, losing back-to-back playoff series to the Indiana Pacers. That is not something I'm buying into at all. Jalen Brunson is the clutch player of the year. Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart. Offensively, the New York Knicks are better than they were last year. The grit that they had last year, they didn't have this year, but then suddenly we found it in a few games against the reigning defending NBA champions. I'm looking at it from that standpoint. Mitchell Robinson, let's not ignore the factor that he brings to the table defensively against the Indiana Pacers. So I take all of those things into consideration, and I'm not going to go that far. If I got to pick a favorite in the East at this particular moment in time, the favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference and represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals is going to be the New York Knicks. New York, stand up, baby. This is what we're going to go with right now. There's no reason for me to believe otherwise at this point.
I think I hate the both of you. I think he's right. I hate to say it. I'm going to root like hell against the Knicks just to annoy him. And by the way, Steve, do me a favor. Don't say we still respect the Celtics. You know you're going to win the game tonight. So don't give me this nonsense. If we're in the conference final, nonsense.
Until it's done.
Until it's done. They're going to win.
Until it's done.
Have the guts.
Listen.
Have guts. Get on the limb.
Excuse me.
Get on a limb.
I've done it for years. And what's happened?
I've
lost limbs rooting for the New York Knicks.
Yes,
I'm not doing it again.
Okay.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not going to wheel the cart before the horse. I'm going to be patient. But the 6 inches in front of my face, I see it right now. I can see it orange and blue skies already. I can see orange and blue skies.
Don't do it. Control yourself. Don't do it. Control yourself.
Last year, Steve's correct on 1 point. Last year, Game 7, Pacers won 130-109. I looked it up yesterday. The Knicks were all banged up. Onobi was hurt. He broke his hand, Brunson, in the middle of the game. The Knicks, no Randall. They had a major amount of injuries, and Indiana rolled. Now, I do think Indiana's excellent at home. I don't know if the Knicks are going to win. I know the Knicks are good on the road, but they're very good at home. Pacers are not afraid of the Knicks, but I have to admit, with Stevie, I don't see Indiana back-to-back years. I would pick, reluctantly, Knicks in 7 in that conference.
I think Halliburton was a little banged up last year in that series against the Knicks too, right?
The Celtics, the next round.
Celtics series, not against the Knicks.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm just
And by the way, listen,
the
the Pacers, what are they, like 42-14 since January 1st?
42-16.
42-16.
That's the number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed. That's right. They deserve
I'm happy
all
you knew that stat. I was going to bring that up later.
They deserve all the credit in the world. But, again, they'll be going against the clutch player of the year on his home turf.
I ain't seen nothing like that.
And we know this is going to be, we know it's got 7 games written all over it. And by the way, has anybody seen any individual give it to Derek White and Drew Holiday, two elite defenders who are reigning champions? Has anybody ever seen somebody give it to them the way Brunson gave it to him? I'm just telling y'all right now, man. I mean, I'm just going to be cool about it. I'm just going to be cool about it. I'm just going to be cool about it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. Going to tell y'all. That's right. I'm just sitting there. I'm feeling the music right now. I love that music, but I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna save it.
Only person comparable with Jimmy Butler.
Who?
Give it to those guys like that. Derek White. Yeah, gave it to those guys like that.
Did Jimmy Butler give it to them like that?
Yeah, he gave it to him like that. He gave it to him like that.
I don't recall it being like that.
But we're not going to take nothing away from what Brunson's doing because he's not Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler 6'8", 215. We're talking about 6'1", 210, not athletic, no wingspan. What he's doing right now is all heart.
Footwork.
I love it. I love it.
Footwork.
Here's what I want Jimmy Butler to do tonight. Shoot the ball. 9 times in Game 4.
I agree with that.
And he did nothing in the last 8 minutes of Game 3. He was awful when that game was to be won. Jimmy, all right, it's time. Tonight, 35 shots. Yeah, I don't want to go down with freaking the little, who's the little lefty with the frizzy hair? What's his name?
Pajemski.
I don't want to go down with him. Go down with Jimmy Butler. What are you laughing at?
We're going to get into that later.
The little lefty with
You might be giving heat to another star, and that's Donovan Mitchell. He's a career 24.7 points per game scorer. That's the 3rd most by a player who has never made it to the conference finals, behind only Joel Embiid and Dominique Wilkins. Here's Donovan Mitchell, still inspired post-game.
Y'all gonna write us the off, man. But we'll be back. We let City down, let each other down. We'll be back.
Doug, how much heat does Donovan Mitchell deserve?
I know everybody wants to put the attention on somebody in Cleveland. I watched every basket in that series because, by the way, you don't think I know anything about basketball.
I never said that.
Who played Indiana at plus 396 before the series began?
That would be you.
Right here, baby.
Okay.
Christopher Michael. Yes, sir.
I don't know
With
gambling terms, Mad Dog. I ain't no gambling
That's a good
terms.
return.
Yeah, I ain't no
you bet
gambling
100,
terms.
you win 396.
Okay, I got it
Add
now.
a few zeros and you get the answer.
Got it.
Anyway, I am not going to go out there and kill Mitchell here. I understand that, missed the 3 free throws yesterday. I understand, he's a volume shooter. I get all that, but he did average 35 points a game in a series. There's nothing he could have done in Game 4. They lost 80-30. They were down 80-38 at the half. Super God couldn't have won Game 4 the way Indiana played. Here's what I'm going to say about and I thought Cleveland was the paper tiger throughout the regular season anyway. I never believed in them. Now, I know it's tricky getting on guys with injuries. I know that because you never know. But hold on now. They're down 1-0 in that series, and Mobley and Hunter don't play in Game 2. They played 36 hours later. Not like they didn't play the whole series. You know, Curry hasn't played in 5 games. He's hurt. These two came back to play Game 3 and Game 4 and Game 5. They lost the first game. Where was it? And they lost that Game 2. It's a terrible loss. They gave 8 straight points. They gave up offensive rebound baskets. If Mobley's in the game, they might win that game. So I'm going to put a little more emphasis on that than killing Mitchell, who tried to keep his team alive. So to me, you guys might go different. I'm not as down on Mitchell as everybody else seems to be.
No, I'm not going to criticize Donovan, but what I will is challenge Donovan. You had an opportunity this year where you had the #1 seed, you had the coach of the year, you had the defensive player of the year. You were in Utah where you had a #1 seed, you had the defensive player of the year, you had 6th man of the year in Clarkson. So you've had the pieces. But what I'll say about Donovan is we watched Donovan grow. We watched Donovan take a step back just so Garland can mature, so Mobley can mature. We watched him do all the right things. We watched him play his tail off to put them in a position to win. But when you get to a point where you're such a great player, now you start to get judged by how many rings does he have. Has he led his team to a championship? This is what comes with the territory. And I'll say this to Donovan, to whom much is given, much is required, my brother. So this is just part of your journey. I do think at some point he will get there. But yes, some of this criticism, some of these questions are fair, but Donovan's doing it the right way. His time will come. When you look at Tatum and you look at those guys, Tatum had a great team in Boston, but it took him 7, 8 years to get it done. So Donovan's right around that 7, 8 year mark. He's reaching his peak, and I think they'll grow and they'll learn from this. And the leadership he displayed afterwards, y'all gonna write us off. Y'all gonna say what y'all supposed to say. I love it. Take it, internalize it, listen to it, and let it fuel you through the summer.
I'm not entirely with you on that. I get where you're coming from. And to be clear, Donovan Mitchell is a bona fide star in this league. He is special. And a great guy, too, by the way. And somebody that you root for, to be quite honest with you. But at some point in time, you are now 0-4 in conference semifinals games. We talk about Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets is not a champion. He's never won a champion. But we don't talk about him like that. You know why? Because we saw him carry a team not once but twice to a finals. And when he lost to a superior team. Every team Donovan Mitchell has lost to has not been superior. There are times where you expected him to win. When he lost the series to the Clippers, there were expectations. When in Cleveland, you've got the 3rd best record in the NBA, winning 66% of your games since you arrived in the regular season, but you 0-4 in conference semifinals. You had the best home record this year, but you're 0-3 in this series on your home turf in Cleveland.
But guys, they weren't healthy.
Well, they blew Game 2. You had a 7-point lead, if I remember correctly. You couldn't inbounds the ball. You had a key turnover. In other words, the game was in their grasp.
But they were missing key guys.
Well, again, but if you were good enough to have a lead with a minute left in the game, and I'm talking about a cushion, and you literally blew it for fundamental basketball could it be incorporated, that's a different animal, Molly.
I'm just saying, Indy beat a banged-up Bucks team and then a banged-up Cavs team.
Well, yes, but a banged-up Cavs team for one game, you lost 4. You only won 1. You lost Game 1. You lost Game 2 when you had a 7-point cushion with a minute and a half left because you couldn't inbounds the ball and you turned the ball over on 3 consecutive possessions. Okay, so you have that going on, all right? Donovan Mitchell, when you look at him, the brother averaged 39 on 44% shooting, but 25% from three-point range. We get that part. All I'm saying to you is that when you are a star, it does get to a point where you're looking at the team. You said you thought they were paper champions during the regular season. You didn't believe in them. You believed in Donovan Mitchell, but you didn't believe in them collectively. People were saying this about y'all coming into the postseason. And it wasn't like they lost to the reigning defending NBA champions. They lost to an Indiana Pacers team who's pretty damn good. Make no mistake about it. But there's no bona fide superstar on their squad as of yet in the eyes of many. So when you look at Cleveland, you find yourself saying, damn, you've come up short again. I'm looking at Donovan Mitchell, who I've always wanted to be a Knick. Remember, I wanted him to desperately be. I still wish he was a Knick, for crying out loud. I love Donovan Mitchell. But in the end, your greatness mandates more than trips to the semifinals of the conference playoff. In the West with Utah, and now in the East with Cleveland. At some point in time, you got to at least, you don't have to win a championship, but you got to get your team on the precipice. You got to get your team in the mix. They can't be summarily dismissed when you're the face of the franchise, you being this damn good, but the people around you come up short. It's unfortunate, but
You got to give them a little break. Last year, they lost to the Celtics in the second round. Allen didn't play. He was a little banged up.
Yes.
You got to give him a little break. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, he played hard. He played hard in this series. I mean, I grant you, Steve, right? The I mean, he is a volume shooter, which does concern you. He's volume. He needs to shoot the ball 25 times a game. But I'm going to go back to the overall point. You played for 50 years.
Yes.
How does Mobley and freaking Hunter not get in the game in game 2? I mean, they played game 1. They played game 3. They got their season on the line in game 2 at home. They played the rest of the series. It's not like they didn't miss a week. They missed 1 game. You got to say, you know what, I'm not a game. I got to play in this game tonight. You're making $50 million a year. It's the NBA playoffs, and they didn't play. That could have been as big a reason why they lost the series as anything, Steve. Yeah. Maybe those two win the game, they're 1-1, and we're having a different conversation.
Yeah. That was the game they had to lead with under 2 minutes left.
And gave up offensive rebounds late in the game.
Gave up offensive rebounds.
Halliburton and the other kid.
And a couple of turnovers, and couldn't inbounds the basketball.
But what I will say is, if Cleveland's being honest, that was a matchup they didn't want. That was a team that dominated them in the regular season, so there was no surprise that Indiana played well against them. That was a matchup that Cleveland didn't want. And they weren't very battle-tested. Obviously, you know what they did to us in Miami. They weren't very battle-tested, so they ran into a team that has been fighting for their lives. The Indiana Pacers have literally been in phase 1 mode since January, 42-16.
Very good. They played well.
42-16.
Yep,
so they ran into a buzzsaw of a team, and they weren't very battle-tested. So that was a very difficult situation. And I do agree with you, Stephen A. I did say some of that criticism is fair for Donovan. Once you get to a certain level as a basketball player individually, you have a responsibility to win. Has he won? Oh, he averaged. No, has he won? Those are the conversations that you're having, and those are the conversations. That's the space that Donovan Mitchell has put himself in. It's not about individual stuff anymore. It's about, is he winning? Has he led a team to win? This is the conversation for a guy that has that talent.
And did you see what Carlisle said after the game yesterday? He said the team was very fueled. They're up 3-1. You know what the line was in Game 5? Cleveland 5.5.
Oh wow.
And he said our guys were annoyed by that after the game, which I found was interesting. How were they favored by 5.5 in Game 5 down 3 games to 1? You tell me, Stevie, how you favor them if you're the book?
You're right.